Hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Naomi, and in today's video, I am gonna show you how I did this makeup look. This is the exact look I did on my wedding day. I got married last July in the summer, and my makeup lasted literally all day in the summer heat. We had our ceremony outdoors, so I was sweating. There were a lot of tears that were shed, and my makeup survived the entire time. I think on my wedding day, I had my makeup on for a total of 15 or 16 hours. I'm gonna show you guys a picture of what my makeup looked like at the beginning of the day, and then a selfie that I took at the end of the day, and you're gonna see how amazing and put together it still looked. I'm telling you, the techniques that I'm gonna show you in this video are really gonna make your makeup last super duper long, and it's gonna look flawless the entire night. A lot of the techniques that I'm gonna show you later on in the video, I use on no makeup days, not necessarily just a full glam. So if you are a bride who doesn't wanna go as full glam as I've gone for my look, you can just adjust the look to accomplish the level of glam that you want to wear on your day. And I actually have 4 tips to share with you guys to set yourself up for success when you're gonna do your own makeup for your wedding day. So the first tip is give yourself a ton of time on your wedding day. I allotted 3 hours just for my makeup on my wedding day. I didn't use the whole 3 hours, and in case I was having a really clumsy day and I messed up my makeup in a major way, I had plenty of time to fix it and not feel stressed and pressured for time. I feel like a lot of us have been in the situation where you're already running late to something. Because you're feeling rushed, you mess up your makeup even more. So if it's stressful on a normal day, imagine how stressed you're gonna be on your wedding day if you're running late because of your makeup. Tip number 2 is practice, practice, practice. And once you figure out the look that you wanna do not change a single thing on your actual wedding day. Don't change the moisturizer that you use. Don't change the primer. Don't change the foundation. Don't change the eyeliner. Literally change nothing. Because if you do change something, for example, let's say you change the moisturizer that you use. You could be in a situation where your moisturizer is causing your foundation to be patchy or separate, and it's just something that you didn't expect. Practice it over and over again and execute that exact look on your actual wedding day. Tip number 3 is pack everything / make a list of everything that you need starting a week ahead of time. I did my makeup, and like all of my bridesmaids, we all got ready together at the actual wedding venue. So if you're not doing your makeup at home, make sure you pack everything that you need starting a week ahead, because if you start a week ahead, you're probably gonna remember random things like, hey, I need to pack Q-tips. Hey, I need to pack like a tweezer. You know, those little things that aren't really part of your main makeup routine that you're gonna need on your wedding day. If you wait to the last minute, you can potentially forget some crucial parts of your makeup kit. Tip number 4, super duper important. Please do not use reflective face powders to set your entire face. You wanna use a satin finish or a matte finish setting powder, and then you wanna add glow very strategically to certain parts of your face. And the reason is because most of us are gonna have flash photography at our wedding, and if you have flash photography and let's say you use like a reflective setting powder to set like your face right here or your forehead, it's gonna look crazy. And I'm gonna show you some pictures of celebrities on the red carpet that have this issue where their makeup artist used a reflecting setting powder all over their face, and it looks crazy with flash photography. Okay, so those are all the tips that I have to set yourself up for success doing your own makeup on your wedding day. And without further ado, let's get right into the tutorial. Okay, so what I've done off screen so far is I shaved my whole face with this razor. I love doing this because like getting all the peach fuzz off of my face, because I feel like my makeup goes on super duper smooth. This is optional if you don't have a super peach fuzzy or hairy face. I feel like you're fine, but I do my mustache. I do my eyebrows. This is the only thing I use to clean up my brows. I will use this only once or twice. Obviously for sanitary reasons, you don't want to reuse the same blade over and over again because you can break out from it. But yeah, I've never really broken out from this because I use a clean blade on a freshly washed face. And then I moisturized with the Kiehl's Ultra Facial Cream. This is my favorite moisturizer ever. I use it with and without makeup, but I do think it performs super nicely underneath makeup. So step number 1 is actually a little bit weird. I have a lot of really fine lines under my eyes, and concealer can crease really easily. So this is something that I do to avoid concealer creasing. This is optional if you don't experience a whole lot of creasing with your makeup, but I definitely do. So what I do is I take an eyeshadow primer. This is not an under eye primer. This is just the Urban Decay eyeshadow primer potion. First of all, I make sure I take extra care moisturizing under my eyes because obviously this is a little bit drying. And I put the tiniest amount under my eyes right where I have those fine lines. And then I also put it on my smile line because I tend to crease there. So those are the two locations that I tend to crease the most. And I've been doing this trick for a really long time. I learned this trick from Alexandra Anele. She also has the same issue as me where she has a lot of fine lines under her eyes. I watched her concealer routine video and she did this, and I started doing it and I never looked back because it is an amazing trick to stop your makeup from creasing. So the next thing I'm gonna do is color correct. I use these Cover FX color corrector cream sticks, but there are tons of amazing color correctors out there. So just do your research and figure out what color corrector will work best for you. But I like to use two different color correctors. So I use the orange color corrector and the light peach because the orange is a little bit too dark for my skin. And then the peach doesn't have enough pigment. So I like to mix these two and it becomes like the perfect color corrector shade for my medium deep skin tone. But I do like cream color correctors. I feel like it performs better under makeup compared to like liquid. And I just take it on this little concealer brush. This is a Pat McGrath, kind of an overpriced brush to be honest. And I go under my eyes. If you color correct, you don't have to use as much concealer. Color correcting will help get rid of that grayness that can kind of peek through under your concealer sometimes. But if you use this type of color correction, you will have zero grayness peeking through, which is amazing. And I also like to take a little and go around my mouth because again, I have a little bit of hyperpigmentation and grayness around my mouth as well. And the next thing I'm gonna do is go in with foundation. Now, this is the foundation that I wore on my actual wedding day. This is the Dior Backstage foundation in the shade 4N. This is my summer shade. I did get married in the summertime, but right now I just got home from a vacation, so I did tan a little bit more. So I'm gonna mix it with this slightly darker foundation. This is the Catrice HD Liquid Coverage, and I find the formulation, this is kind of like a dupe for the Dior Backstage. Finishes are super similar and just the overall performance. And I would like to mention, these are two drastically different price points. So if you don't want to splurge on the Dior, you could totally get the Catrice. I got the shade Caramel Beige in the Catrice foundation. So I just like to take the foundation on the back of my hand, and then I'm going to take the Catrice and do like half of the amount that I poured of the Dior. And I'm just going to go in with a foundation brush. This is the e.l.f. Complexion Duo. Really great brush. Honestly, e.l.f. brushes are really, really amazing, super affordable. And this brush has been in my collection for years and years, and it's never let me down. It's like one of my favorite foundation brushes. You really don't need to spend a lot on brushes to get a really good one. That is it for foundation, and now I'm gonna go in with concealer. So I will live and die by the NARS Radiant Creamy Concealers. These are my all-time favorite concealers. I am very picky about concealers because I have the issue with a lot of fine lines under my eyes. I've tried so many concealers, and the NARS, along with the application techniques that I'm gonna show you guys, the NARS Radiant Creamy Concealer has been just the most reliable. I am first gonna go in with the shade Caramel, which is medium deep 2. And this is the shade that I use for concealing a larger area. And then the other one is a lighter shade. This is Ginger, which is medium 2, slightly lighter. And I like to use that lighter shade in more strategic areas. So I like to take the main concealer shade and go right on my nose, right underneath where I am gonna contour my nose later. Concealer placement and contour placement, all of like those types of products that you place on your face, it really depends on what your face shape is, what kind of effect you're trying to achieve, because we all have different face shapes, and maybe this concealer pattern is not going to be flattering on someone else that maybe has a different eye shape, for example. I'm going to conceal around my mouth as well. So that's it for the darker shade of concealer. Now I'm going to go in with the lighter shade, and I'm going to go a little closer. So I have a little bit of like, my eyes are kind of deep set, and I have kind of like a ridge right here. This is where my dark circles end. So I'm gonna place the lighter concealer right where the darkest spot of my eye is. And then I like to take it a little bit on my chin, a little bit on my cupid's bow, and a touch on my forehead. So I'm gonna take my foundation brush that I was using earlier, the dual foundation brush, and I'm gonna use the other end. This is like just a smaller version of the foundation side. And I'm gonna go in and just blend out my concealer. I like to blend out all of my concealer except for my under eyes, because I like to let my under eye concealer sit. Because if you let your concealer sit, you're gonna get more high coverage and more pigmentation, but I don't need as much coverage around my mouth and on my forehead, so that's why I blend those areas out almost immediately. And I'm not gonna blend it out perfectly, because I'm also gonna go in with a damp beauty blender and go over my whole face to give that really seamless airbrushed look. So now what I'm gonna do while I'm waiting for my under eye concealer to dry down, I'm gonna do cream bronzer and cream blush. The bronzer that I use is the LYS bronzing stick in the shade Courage. So I just go in your typical bronzing areas. I don't do cream bronzer or cream contour on my nose. I do contour my nose, which I'll show you later. I only do it with powder, because I feel like it's less of an intense, much more flattering effect when you do powder contour on your nose, especially in real life. Like, I feel like contour, if you go kind of crazy with it, can look good on camera, but you also want to look good in real life, and I feel like nose contour can look a little bit crazy if you do too much. Did you see how beautifully that blended out? Like, it's just so easy. And bronzer is one of those things that you do not want to let sit. And the remaining bronzer that I have on my brush, I'll just kind of go on my jawline. Now, time for cream blush. For cream blush, there are so many great options out there, cream or liquid, whatever you prefer. I wore the e.l.f. Luminous Putty Blush in the shade St. Bart's, and this is the color that I wore on my actual wedding day. Such a beautiful, flattering color. I wear this on like no makeup days. I wear this for full glam. Swirl my same foundation brush in there. I find cream blushes, if you are kind of nervous to use cream products or liquid products, I feel like cream is the easier type of formulation to use compared to liquid. I like to place it in this kind of shape, like upwards, in line with my cream contour, and I like to lift it and like blend it into my bronzer on my temples. And then I take the remaining little bit of blush that's left on my brush, and I like to go on the bridge of my nose because it gives like a really pretty sun-kissed look. I'm gonna take the smaller end of that brush and I'm gonna blend out near my nose. And the reason that I blend out the edges of this is because I feel like I have a lot more control with a brush compared to the beauty blender. Okay, now I'm gonna take my damp beauty blender. This is not the brand beauty blender. I feel like beauty blender just is synonymous with just makeup sponges now. But this is from Quo, I think. It's spelled Q-U-O. So I'm gonna take that, I'm gonna go over my whole face and really make sure my makeup is like the perfect texture. Usually when I do this though, I won't do my cheeks at all. I'll go around the rest of my face. And because I have, again, the lines under my eyes, I have to set my under eyes immediately when I'm done blending it out, because if I don't, concealer can easily crease, like it will almost immediately crease. So I like to have this ready before I start blending my concealer out. This is the Laura Mercier Translucent Loose Setting Powder. I'm also gonna take this powder puff, like this velour puff. This I just got on Amazon. And then I'm gonna start blending out my under eye concealer. And I make this crazy face the whole time too, because I have to like make this face and like squint my eyes so it kind of flattens out the lines that I have under my eyes. I will immediately go in with powder, and I'll go in where I have the most amount of lines, and I'll go right on next to my nose where my nose contour is going to be. And I really like to take my time and work the setting powder into my under eye and like really press it in. And this whole pressing technique, like really pressing in your setting powder, is the thing that is going to make your makeup last a really long time. I'm telling you, your makeup will not budge. So that looks good. I'm going to do the other eye now. And I like to really take my time setting around my mouth because obviously when you're eating, you're drinking, the makeup around our mouth can be the first thing that starts to break down. I'm gonna take some more powder and lightly go underneath where my contour is. And again, this is like reverse contouring. It's just gonna make your contour pop a little bit more and you're gonna look super duper snatched. Do the same thing to the other side. And this area of my face, I don't really take as much time pressing the powder in because like I don't experience any creasing, any like makeup breakdown in this area. And I take even less powder. I take a really small amount of powder for my forehead because I don't know, I feel like my forehead tends to like look more powdery and like show makeup more than the rest of my face. So I like to be very conservative with how much setting powder I'm putting on my forehead. And that is it for setting powder. And honestly, that is the hardest part of my makeup done, in my opinion. Like the whole base is probably the part that I'm like holding my breath for. But once my base turns out good, I'm like, okay, this is gonna be a really good makeup day. So now I'm gonna go in with powder bronzer. I'm using the Glow Wish bronzer from Huda Beauty. It has a slight bit of shine to it. It's really warm. This is in the shade Deep Tan. I'm gonna take that on this fluffy-ish brush. This is from Morphe. This is the Ariel collection. And I'll take it and like really lightly because I don't wanna overdo my bronzer. I like to go with a very light hand and just like build it very slowly. Then I go a little bit heavier around my temples and my forehead. Once my brush is not so loaded in product, I'll go back to my cheekbone and blend it out a little bit more. So now I'm gonna contour my nose. I'm gonna take this like little fluffy brush. This is from Still Cosmetics. I'll just go in the brown shade and I'm gonna start underneath my nose. Really small amount. I don't like to go too heavy-handed with this. Contour the side of my nose and connect it to what I put underneath my nose. And of course you wanna connect it to your eyebrow because if you don't, it'll look super unnatural. Next, I'm gonna do my blush. I'm just gonna take a fluffy blush brush. And the blushes that I'm gonna use, I always mix blushes because it's so hard to find one single blush that just like looks good on my skin tone. I'm gonna mix the NARS powder blush in the shade Dolce Vita. So it looks like that. Super pretty shade, has a slight bit of sparkle to it. I'm gonna mix that with the BH Floral Blush in the shade Honolulu Hideaway. So this one is a lot more pink, like a bubblegum pink. And I just go on my cheeks in that same like angled shape that I like because I love a super snatched blush look. And I like to take it like right next to my eye and I blend it into my brow. The rest of that blush that's left on my brush, I'll just like go on my nose a little bit. And now I'm gonna do my highlight. I'm gonna do powder highlight. This is the Makeup by Mario Soft Glow Highlighter in the shade Honey. So I'm not done with the blush yet. I'll show you what I do after I put highlight on. I take a little bit with this fluffy brush, shake off the excess, and I'll go where you normally highlight, and I'll go on my brow a little bit. But to make sure my highlight is like blended really beautifully into my blush, I'll just go over it with my blush brush to blend it out all together. That is it for all of the powder face products and the overall base. Like we're completely done with the base now, and I'm just gonna set it with some setting spray. I like to do 2 different setting sprays. The first one that I use is the Urban Decay All Nighter Extra Glow setting spray. What I like to do is I'll cover my face like this and I'll try to just hit my cheekbones and like my brow specifically. Same thing to the other side. And then I take the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush setting spray and I'll do the rest of my face with this one. Yes, I spray a lot. And then to make it go dry a little faster, I'll take a little fan. And I like to squint my eyes too, because obviously if your under eye area gets a little bit damp from the setting spray, it will tend to crease. If I feel like the glow setting spray gave me glow in areas that I didn't want, because obviously it's kind of hard to control a setting spray, I'll just take my velour triangle puff, and I won't take any extra setting powder on it, but whatever's left over on it, I'll just go on my forehead, for example, because I don't want shine in the middle of my forehead. If I have too much shine on my jawline, I'll just go in like that. And that is it for the base. Now we're gonna move on to the eyes. Before we do the eyes though, I'm gonna clean up my lips because I kind of look like a zombie when I have concealer all over my lips. Okay, so for my eyes, I'm gonna start by going in with the Makeup by Mario Master Matte Eyeshadow Palette. I feel like everyone knows about this palette. I don't really need to sell it to you guys. So I like to take this like domed brush and I'll go in to this shade and I'll mix them together. And I like to go in to my inner corner and connect to the concealer that I had blended out. Right underneath my nose contour, I like it to be bright, you know, because I feel like it makes your eyelids look bigger. Then I go back in to just that darker shade. I don't mix it this time. I just go into the slightly darker shade and I'll do the middle of my eye. So that's like the base color done. And then I'm gonna go in with a really small crease blush. And when I mean small, I mean pretty small. Like it's a little tightly packed crease brush. And I'm gonna go in to this shade and I'm gonna mix it with this shade. So I like to take that brush and just go in my crease on just like the outer crease and really place it exactly where I want it. And that's why I like doing a really small brush. Similar shape. I'm gonna do like a flat eyeshadow brush so you can see it's like fluffy. And I'm just gonna take that and blend out the edges of that crease color. I'm gonna go back in with the small little brush, crease brush, and I'm gonna take the crease color and I'm gonna extend it out kind of like a wing, just ever so slightly. And I feel like this is gonna make your eye look very lifted and snatched, kind of like a fox eye, a cat eye. Okay, that's really pretty. And then again, I'm gonna go in with the fluffy brush and blend it out. And I'm also gonna clean up because I feel like I put a little bit too much darkness right here. I'm just gonna take that domed brush that I did the lighter color with and just go right here and clean it up. So now it's the fun part. I'm gonna add a little bit of glitter to my eyes. I'm using the Hourglass Scattered Light Glitter Eyeshadow in the shade Ray. This is what it looks like. It's just like a single pot of shadow. This is very, very similar to Urban Decay Space Cowboy, but the reason that I like this better is because I like the color better. It's much more of like a warm bronzy shade of shimmer, whereas Urban Decay Space Cowboy shadow is very cool toned, which is really pretty if that matches your undertone, but I feel like I look a lot better with a bronzy shadow. So if you kind of get it, the glitter where you don't want it, you could just brush it off with a fluffy brush. And I like to go all over my lid with this shadow. And I just applied that with my finger and I like to blend out the edges with a fluffy brush. Like, look how pretty that is. I like to go back in with that crease brush and clean it up. I'm gonna take a little angled brush, an eyeliner brush, and I'm probably gonna go in with like this medium cool toned brown. And I'm gonna do like a really small line under my eye and I'm gonna connect it to my crease shadow above. So at this point, you can either leave it alone and just do like your lashes, which I think could look really, really pretty, or you could do like a brown winged liner or a black winged liner. But I think I'm gonna do a liquid brown liner. I don't remember, did I do a black liner or a brown liner on my actual wedding day? I don't remember exactly, but I feel like this look calls for a brown eyeliner. This is the Tattoo Liner in the shade Mad Max Brown. And I'm just gonna do a simple wing. Okay, so now that my liquid liner is done, I'm gonna go in with a brown eyeliner pencil. This is the Rimmel London Exaggerate Waterproof Eye Definer in the shade Rich Brown. And I'm just gonna do like a really light line on my lower waterline. Okay, there we go. That is it for eyeliner and eyeshadow. I'm gonna repeat the exact same thing on the other eye. Bam, there we go. Both eyes are done now. I'm gonna move on to lashes. I'm just gonna do a curl with a regular curler and a little bit of mascara. So I'm just gonna do a simple curl. So I'm going in with the Kill Lash by Clio. I feel like I make the craziest faces when I'm doing my mascara. I am gonna apply some falsies now. I usually get my falsies from either Amazon or like just drugstore falsies from Walmart or Shoppers. I think this is specifically the style that I wore on my wedding day. If it's not this one, it's a very, very similar one. This is from Amazon. These are just like really pretty, like half lashes. I usually like a half lash, and then I'll just put like a couple of smaller strips of lashes kind of like on the closer inner corner. And I feel like it's like the perfect shape for my eye. And the lash glue that I'm using is the Strip Lash Adhesive from Kiss. So I do a small strip of lash glue, and just to show you, that's how much lash glue that I do. It's a pretty small amount. I used to go so crazy with the lash glue. I would put way too much and it would be all clumpy. So I'm gonna put that lash to the side while I'm waiting for the glue to dry, and I'm gonna do my lower lash mascara. I like to use a very skinny, small brush for my lower lashes because I don't like a really heavy look on my lower lash. And I found this really good mascara that has just like the tiniest brush ever. Like, look how small that brush is. You can barely see the bristles. It literally just looks like a stick. And this is the Innisfree Skinny Micro Cara. Do like a small, tiny bit of mascara on my lower lashes. And the formula is nothing special. I mainly get this mascara for the brush shape and size. So I'm gonna apply my first falsie. I like to put my mirror like kind of under my face and look downwards and kind of like brush if my lashes are a little bit too curled to give room to place the falsie. I like to push my lashes down, and I look down like this and I just place the lash down. And moving your actual lashes out of the way is really important, I feel like, because then you can make contact with directly on your lid instead of accidentally getting the glue all over your lashes. And then I take this type of tweezer. It's like the skinny pointy tweezer. A little bit scary to put this near your eye, so be careful. But I like to take it and press my actual lashes and the falsie together. But again, I feel like this lash, because it's a half lash, it's kind of heavy on just the outer part of my eye, and I feel like I need a little bit more volume on the inner corner. If you had individual lashes, you could apply just a couple on the inner corner, but I don't have individuals right now, so I'm just gonna cut up these lashes that I don't really love and use the smaller pieces on my inner corner. So I just cut a really small little strip. Like, I don't know if you can see, it's literally just a couple hairs. And then I'm just gonna put some glue on it and stick it on. And I'm gonna do the same thing where I bind my actual lashes and the falsie together. And a trick that I do because sometimes even though the glue, it does dry down clear, it can be a little bit shiny and it can be a little bit visible even when it's fully dry. So I like to take a little bit of liquid liner. I'm using the NYX Professional Makeup Epic Ink Liner, and this is like a super black matte eyeliner. Let me get a little closer so you can really see what I'm doing. I like to take it and really get into the lash band and like color the lash band. So there is no indication that there's even a lash band there. It'll be completely black. And that is my trick to get a super seamless lash band. And if there's any parts of your lashes that you feel like you need a little bit of length, you can just go back in with mascara and fill in those areas. I'm gonna take a pencil liner. This is the NYX Epic Wear liner stick in a really dark black shade, and tight line my upper lash line. And this gives a truly seamless look to your upper lashes. And there you go. Super duper seamless. That is it for lashes. I'm just gonna repeat the exact same thing on the other eye. Okay, bam. That is the eyes completely done. We're almost there, you guys. I feel like I've been filming for so long. I'm gonna clean up my eyebrows now before I actually do them. There's a lot of makeup on them, so I'm just gonna take a wet Q-tip. I also never understand people that can do their eyebrows before they do the rest of their face. Like, I'm definitely an eyebrows last kind of girl because as you saw, like, makeup got all over my eyebrows. I'm gonna go in first with the 24-hour brow setter by Benefit, and then I'm gonna fill in my brows with the NYX Lift and Snatch brow tint pen. And that might be kind of a weird order for some people because usually people fill in their brows before they set them. But because I'm doing like a liquid pen, it's actually a lot easier to set your brows first and then go in with the pen. So once my brows are set, I'll just make it dry a little bit faster using a fan. So I'm gonna take the NYX Lift and Snatch brow tint pen and I'm just gonna start filling in my brows. And at first, I didn't like brow pens because there is a learning curve associated with it. Like, you definitely need to be very gentle and careful because it's like liquid liner where you definitely need to get like skilled at using it. But once you do figure out how to get good at using it, I feel like it gives such a beautiful, natural look to your brows because you can create really natural looking hair-like strokes with them. And you can also go in and clean up the edges if you kind of went too far with the brow pen. Okay, brows are done. Everything else is done. Very last step, of course, is lips. I am gonna do my lip liner first. I am using the e.l.f. Love Triangle Lip Filler Liner in the shade Light Brown. I like to stay within my natural lip line at the corners. And then at the bottom like center of my lip, I'll overline. And I feel like this gives you a really pretty pouty look. And then I love this trick. This is like super duper easy. I take the Anastasia Beverly Hills Pro Pencil eyeshadow primer and eye corrector. This is like a skin colored, it's much lighter than my personal skin tone, but it's like this pen. It's like this very big pen. And usually the way I've seen people use it, they use it as like something to clean up your brows with and like get a really sharp line, which obviously it works for that. It also works really well to clean up the lines on your lips. So that's basically what I always use it for. I'll go in to this corner because I love like a really sharp line on my lips. Like I really like a clean, crisp lip liner look. Mainly just my, the outer corners of my lips. Okay, so that's kind of where I place it. And then I'll take a little flat brush and then I'll blend it out. Okay, so that is it for lip liner. I'm now gonna go in with the Charlotte Tilbury Pillow Talk Medium Lipstick. This is such a pretty color for medium to medium deep skin tones. And I'm not gonna put too much. I'm just gonna kind of pat it on because I have two other products coming up that I'm gonna also put on my lips. So I take the tiniest bit of this e.l.f. glossy lip stain in the color Berry Queen, and it's like a berry, kind of like a purplish red color. It's kind of intense, but I'm gonna use the smallest amount. I just like dot it like that much. And it gives just like the slightest flush of pink. And then I top it off with the Maybelline Superstay Vinyl Ink like lip gloss. It's kind of like lip gloss, but this is like super duper long lasting. And this is in the shade 40 Witty. And it gives like the slightest bit of shine. I don't like a super duper glossy lip. I mean, I do sometimes, but for this particular look, I want it to be just a little bit glossy, not overly glossy. And I feel like that is the perfect lip color for me. And I feel like the undertone now matches my blush super well. And overall, the whole undertone of my entire makeup is very harmonious. I really love how this turned out. This is like, I would say like 99% of exactly what I did on my wedding day. And let me take my hair out so you can see the full effect of this look with my hair as well. So that is the look, you guys. Let me know what you guys think. Like, do you like this? If this video inspired you to do your own makeup on your wedding day, please send me pictures. I wanna see what your makeup creations look like, you can DM me on Instagram. I always check my DMs on there. My Instagram handle is gonna be somewhere on the screen and also in the description. I really hope this video was super helpful for you guys. Just practice, 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 and trust me, you will feel so confident doing your own makeup on your wedding day. If you guys enjoyed this video and found it helpful, give this video a like and subscribe if you want to see more. And I hope to see you next time. Bye, guys.